Welcome back to Who's Next on the X. I'm your host, Wiley Ray, and today I'm with Jacob Mustard. Jacob, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Yourself?
That's a great day. So my first question for you is, who is Jacob Mustard?
So I'm a senior here on campus, and I work with KNWT, KZLX. I work with the Bearcat Radio Network, and I run a disc golf club here on campus.
So you said you run the disc golf club here on campus. What do you do in the disc golf club?
So we have both a casual and a competitive side, where our casual members, we have two courses here. We have one on campus and one at Mazinga Lake. We meet several times a week, and we just get out, play around, work on new skills. And then the competitive side, we travel and play against other colleges. Our most recent trip was to Morton, Illinois. We played the Northwood Black and Blue course, and the Northwood Black is like a Pro Tour level course where it's one of the most challenging courses. And we competed against 22 other teams. Some notable ones that people will know is Mizzou, Missouri S&T, Emporia State, those kind of schools.
You mentioned you do work with KXCV and Bearcat Radio Network. What do you do in that internship?
So for the Bearcat Radio Network, I help do the back-end producing or the studio engineering for Matt and John Coffey, or Matt Trenton and John Coffey, when they call the Northwest Bearcat football games. Typically, I end up working the home games, but pretty much anytime they need me, I'm there.
What has been your favorite part about working that internship?
As a commentator as well, because that's something I do with KZLX, I get to listen to John and Matt, and they are really good announcers, and just being able to pick up on some of the verbiage they use and just helps translate to my work. So I can take some of the things I learned from just listening to them every weekend and put them towards what I do, and it's definitely helped. And then we're able to take our game scripts or recordings and go ask John questions.
So not only, what kind of work do you do for KZLX?
So I'm in advanced radio practicum, and what comes with that is a 2-hour radio shift. Mine is on Thursdays from 2 to 4 p.m. Through KZLX, that's where I'm able to do some radio commentary and some of my broadcasts, doing either play-by-play or color commentating. Just being a part of a broadcast there is, I was told if I wanted to broadcast some games, join KZLX, because you will have the opportunity through the radio. I got an internship with UClick TV doing broadcasting the Spoofhounds games, all that through KZLX.
So you mentioned your talk show from 2 to 4 on Thursdays. Want to give a little bit more detail on that?
There's nothing fancy about it. It's just I hop in on the mic every so often, give you guys a breakdown of some events that go on throughout the week, stuff that I'm either a part of or that I've heard, and then get you back to some music.
And you mentioned you do a lot of work for, covering Northwest and then Spoofhounds. And I was fortunate enough to get to sit beside you when the Spoofhounds played last Friday. So, what does that feel like to be a broadcaster and be able to broadcast Maryville and Northwest games?
So it's really, it's fun. The community here has like a championship culture, and they've talked about that before. It's still, you can feel that as a broadcaster, and like working with you and Craig, just the games, the atmosphere we bring. I've done these, at least this year, we did the Maryville versus Savannah, and I also did the Spoofhounds versus St. Pius. So those were two, again, great atmospheres, and the St. Pius game came down to the last play. It was just an electric atmosphere.
What is your expertise?
So it kind of ties in with the club that I run. So my expertise is disc golf, and I actually have 3 discs here for you to look at. You can show the cameras as well. We have your standard driver, mid-range, and putter. That's kind of the basics of disc golf, is you need those 3 discs. But for anybody who's wanting to get into disc golf, just do your research. There is so much content out on YouTube from different beginner guides, like channels. There's one guy named Robbie C Disc Golf who's specifically tailored towards beginners, but I still watch his videos because I find him informative. Personally, when I was a beginner, I played with my friend group and we were all beginners, and then I started reaching out and branching out to different people in the area, and it just helped seeing better players. And you can do that on YouTube as well. If you can find other people in person, which that's one of the mottos that you'll hear, is we're trying to grow the sport. And that's kind of what the club is here to do, is reach more people. And if we can, just build a good community that is inviting towards new people. And like I've definitely taught a couple people how to play. There's just the basics from throwing a hyzer release or a flat release or an anhyzer release, being able to throw a forehand or a backhand or know what the difference is. For some people, forehand is more like a baseball throw. So we have a new guy this year who has a sidearm pitching background. Now, he didn't have a college background with pitching, and I think he stopped in high school, but just having that like kind of low release sidearm, he's throwing a 280-foot forehand as someone who's been playing for 2 months maybe. That's like incredible growth for him. And like, just I can see a future where if he's taking it competitively, he's going to be really good, or if he's casually, he's going to be one of the top casual guys here on campus, just because he can and is like has that natural ability.
What is some advice you have for younger students?
So for younger students, I just tell them to get involved. One of the aspects when you're taking freshman seminar is you have to go to the org fair. And they tell you, at least my class, they told us you have to sign up for 2 clubs and attend the first meeting. And while those aren't necessarily everything that is involved, I know KZLX has a stand there. So just if you actually go through with what your teacher says, they're trying to guide you. And as much as like people tend to write it off, I joined a club basketball. I joined club basketball, and I didn't end up playing for the team, but I built a relationship with Nick, and they traveled to Springfield, Missouri, and asked me to tag along and take photography pictures of them once I was in the mass media program. So something that I'm not doing anymore, but it was a good experience, and I built lasting friendships off of it, or work relationships with like coworkers. Even though we're all students, you're building your network here, and that's what's happened with KZLX and KNWT. Is I've met so many different people. I'm a part of 2 different shows in KNWT, and with the radio and the broadcasting, I've met all these different people and gained so much knowledge and the ability to either promote my own brand, either being my name or what I'm trying to accomplish here on campus. But if you just get involved here, you hear that a lot. I would genuinely take that to heart and try, because if you don't, you miss out on some opportunities.
Thank you, Jacob, for being on today's show.
It was a pleasure being here. Thanks for having me.
Don't forget to tune in next week to see who's next on the X.